Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today we're back from our little Christmas New Year break, and we've got a returning guest, third time on the mic now. Every time we have her on, the numbers, the Minnesota numbers just skyrocket. We're number one podcaster in Minnesota. It's Jess Schroeder. How you going, Jess?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, we talked about this last time. Saying, we got this bump from when you were on the first time. I'm going, maybe it was just an anomaly. And then the second time you were on, same thing, same bump. So you're obviously out there promoting, you got all your friends and family, passing it around, telling people to get on the podcast.
Yes, I'm a very good self-promoter.
So I expect...
But I'm also blessed with very supportive friends, family, and coworkers, so...
All right, get those downloads.
They're always keen to give it a listen and then play it back to me when I least expect it as a form of torture.
Every one of them is a download stat. So hey, if you want to do that, by all means, download our other episodes as well, and download some other ones while you're at it as well. And why not subscribe as well and do all those things? Don't just download to torture Jess. Do that a little bit, but
yes,
not just all that. So how's your Christmas break been? You're back at the grind. Christmas breaks in America are quite short, aren't they? Like Australia, we just take tons of time off in the summer, but you kind of have Christmas and get back into it, don't you?
Yeah, well, I have some friends who took a couple weeks. I think I only took 2 days off.
Oh wow!
My husband took about a week, but yeah, it's been weird. I haven't really had a full week of work since the week that the Rise of Skywalker came out, because I took a half day that day, and then the next week was Christmas and then New Year's, and this week we have a sick kid, so we've kind of been taking turns staying home with him.
Yeah, I hear that. So did Santa bring you any Star Wars things for Christmas?
Let me think now. Yes, I got a Star Wars jigsaw puzzle that I've already completed. It's like a bunch of old comic book covers.
Yep, cool.
I think I posted a picture of it on Twitter.
Yep, I think I saw the old Marvel ones. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so that was fun. My brother drew me a picture of Baby Yoda with his little bone broth bowl. He's an artist, so that was awesome.
Nice.
I think I got Star Wars socks. And no, I got that for myself. I got myself the visual dictionary of Rise of Skywalker.
Nice.
But yeah, kind of light on the Star Wars gifts this year, actually.
Oh, what about your kids? Did Santa bring them anything Star Wars related? Or are they just not interested?
No, they continue to be completely indifferent to Star Wars, much to my chagrin.
Oh, Mum's got to work a bit harder, I think.
Yeah.
Not to worry. Yeah, I got a few. What did I get? I got some. Well, my birthday is the day before Christmas, so I got some my parents found these Stormtrooper biscuits, cookies, whatever you want to call them in America. I wish I had them. I could have shown you. And they were just little biscuits in the shape of Stormtroopers. They got me those. I thought that was hilarious. I haven't actually eaten them yet. They've probably gone stale now, to be honest. But anyway, we'll try that. What else did I get? I got some mugs, and somebody got me a doormat, that says a Star Wars doormat. So I'm kind of cool. Do I really want to put the Star Wars doormat on the front of my house for just random people who turn up at my house? So I don't know. That's a pretty big statement, Star Wars doormat.
Yeah. Well, what does it say on it? Is it?
I think it's we use lightsabers in this house
Star
or
Wars?
something weird like that. Yeah.
Oh.
So
that's kind of cool. I like that.
Maybe it'll go around the back. I don't know. We got a back door.
Yeah.
And a front
There you
door.
Go.
Yeah, that solves that. If they come around and ask and go, "Hey, where's the doormat?" It's around the back. It's around the back. It's more efficient that way. Now, you did touch on Rise of Skywalker Day, and I think when you were on last time, we talked about what your plans were and things. How did that go? How was it? You kind of go. You don't do midnight there, so you probably had to wait all day for it to happen,
Nope.
didn't you? Did you go first thing?
So the earliest showing was 6 p.m. on Thursday,
Oh.
or our Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'd already seen it. I think
so
I'd
I
already
took a
seen it twice by then.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think I got off of Twitter on Tuesday just to be safe, and then stayed off till after. Just in case anyone wanted to take their Mandalorian revenge, I wasn't going to take any chances.
You're looking at. Oh, I know you're looking at me because we're on the Skype, but no. We I don't think anybody. I know there was a lot of Australians who were threatening to do that after people couldn't control themselves after Mandalorian for a week, but I think everybody held their powder. We took the high road on that one.
Yeah. So I took a half day. Tim Dunlap drove up from Minneapolis and met me for a beer. And then we picked up my husband and went for another beer. And then we're joined by a friend of mine, Emily. And then we met 3 other friends of mine at the theater and saw it at 6 p.m. together.
Oh, now you had
so it's kind of a hodgepodge of people, but it was fun.
Yeah, that's cool. So did you have a you have reserved seats and everything? You didn't have to rock up early to try and get decent seats. It was all you were there at the jump, getting the tickets, making sure you had the sweet spot and everything. Yeah.
So in fact, my friend Emily showed up at the brewery. I think at I want to say 5:40 or something, and ordered a pint of beer, and I was like, "Oh, this is not going to go well."
God, that's
and so 5:55, so I was like, "You have to guzzle your beer. We have to go now." And then my one friend was standing at the door of the theater, basically tapping her foot. "Where are you?"
Yeah, right.
We have reserved seats. There's going to be 20 minutes of previews. Relax.
Oh well, we had we did the midnight one down at Knox like we've done the last few years, and so that's Wednesday midnight or Thursday 12:01. So because we're a day ahead of you guys, so we saw it. I guess the equivalent of your Tuesday night or something, maybe, or Tuesday morning. But that's because it's the midnight one. There's no. It starts at 12:01. The movie starts, so you sit down 12:01. Lights go down. Lucasfilm logo. You're away. There's no ads. There's no previews. There's no nothing. So you've got to.
Wow.
You kind of got to make sure that you're in there a bit before. We had reserved seats. I got hooked up by the Star Walking fan club. Shout out to those guys if they're listening. They gave me some great seats because I'd done a little bit of work for them and stuff, and we got to put a little ad on the big screen for the podcast as well. So that was cool. But it was nice. We were at the pub next door and catching up with people. If you've listened to the reaction pod, you can hear sort of people have been on the show before and hearing it and stuff. So it was but there's no I went to the toilet and then sat down. And then went, oh, maybe I'll just try going to the toilet again, just because you don't want to have to think that you get a second, I want to have somebody guzzling a beer just before. That's dangerous. You feel like you'd have to go within 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think my husband got up in the middle to get a drink, and my friend next to me was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
Hey, he's
when
here.
he got back,
right?
I whispered
you got in there on opening night. I said, "Come on, that's pretty good."
Yeah. But no, I didn't. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, though the theater, I was kind of disappointed in the theater reaction because I had told my friend Emily, who's kind of new to Star Wars, and my husband, I'm like, you have to go opening night this last time. It's going to be amazing. People will clap, and it's going to be an experience. Just wait and see. And then it was not like that.
That's a bummer.
Nobody clapped at the end. I kind of felt like the vibe in the theater was people were confusion. Maybe, I don't know. It wasn't a good. It wasn't a great vibe at the end.
Oh, we had.
I know it was so sad.
We were the first. Apparently, we were the first screening that sold out in Australia. So Disney sent the screening a bunch of lightsabers. So before it started, everybody had a lightsaber. They were waving it around. We had cheering and laughing and clapping and everybody. The vibe was. I mean, I know we'll get into the movie later on, but certainly coming out of the theater, most people seem pretty hyped still. But that's a bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the thing of midnight as well. It's you've already been awake all day. You're already sort of sitting there a bit charged and sort of ready to roll. But so you're kind of looking around, people going why aren't you clapping more? Why aren't you cheering?
Yeah, I was all ready to clap, and I'm okay, I guess we're not going to do that then. But so then I saw it the very next night with my son, and that screening, everybody clapped at the end.
Oh, right.
And people were clapping, and as we were just would not stop clapping. So I guess it's just I don't know, the pick
Just
of the litter,
depends.
what you
Yeah,
luck of the draw.
I've seen it 3 times. I haven't seen it since before Christmas now because we had sort of Christmas to stakes over everything. But the other two screenings I was in, there was a bit of clapping. Certainly the third one, there was a bunch of clapping and cheering and stuff, and some laughing as well. Some people, well, we can jump ahead, but when Ben Solo died, a bunch of people laughed. And I was like, oh,
what?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
I guess it's different to people getting on Twitter getting angry about it, but I thought that was strange. But when all the ships turn up at the end, people cheered and things as well. It's because you keep forgetting, because like one of the things, I'll just jump ahead, but like people kind of going, oh, I wish they, when he said like, I wish they didn't put that thing with all the ships in the trailer. It would have been so nice to have that moment when they all turn up. But most people haven't seen the trailer. General audiences didn't know. So when those ships turned up, the screenings I went to, people were all really excited that happened. So, good on them. Now, people didn't cheer at the end at your screening though, Jess, though. Did you feel like cheering? I get the general vibe from your Twitter stuff. You felt like cheering.
I did. I mean, I was caught up in just like the emotion and the excitement of it all. I would have definitely, I've had some time to kind of, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly, this movie's just kind of hard for me. I don't know, but I would have cheered. Yes, I would have been on my feet, but I didn't want to be the only one.
It's just like, woo! Come on, everybody! It's not too late. Here we go. Your poor husband's like, I'm going to go out and go to the toilet again and wait for this to blow over.
Yeah.
Did you know? Did you know? Did you get any? Oh, you said you got off Twitter. Did you have anything spoiled going in?
The only thing. So there was an episode of The Bad Motivators, I think in the summer, and they did like a spoiler section at the end.
Oh.
It was like a bunch of stuff that I think Making Star Wars had maybe just put out or something. So they were going to recap it, and they warned like, everyone, if you don't want to hear this, like stop now. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to listen with it, and I'm take it with a grain of salt, because I don't believe anything until I see it.
Right.
And so I knew all of that stuff. I had heard that stuff going in, but I still didn't really like, I didn't believe, I just still felt like anything could happen. Reshoots, they might not use that. Who knows? I know it was that Rey's a Palpatine.
Oh, Jesus. So it wasn't just like, one little thing. They're like, oh, they arrive and the Falcon's on fire, and Poe and Rey have an argument. You're like, oh, well, maybe that'll happen. They might cut that. So you actually knew, oh, God, talk about like the major spoiler.
I know, but I still didn't know. Like, to me, I didn't know. I just felt like, okay, well, I guess I could maybe see that happening. But I was going in with anything could happen. I've never really followed spoilers before. Like, so I don't know what their track record is. I've heard that, certain people have really good track records with them, but
those
for
motivators
myself,
are full of shit, man. They always, whatever.
So I just was like, well, okay, well, I guess we'll see. And then I know they mentioned the training sequence between young Luke and Leia.
God.
And those were, I think, the only two big ones that I remembered going in.
That's pretty big. Like, that's pretty big. The Rey one, obviously. So, well, let's get stuck into that. So, I mean, I had no idea. I kind of stupidly thought that issue had been put to bed. That was, we're not even going there anymore. It's sort of a non-issue, and then it turns out to sort of be the crux of the whole movie again. We did sort of talk about Darkside Rey and stuff when you were on last time. You're a bit like, oh, I don't think I like the idea of Darkside Rey, of Rey going bad, and
who would?
And, I mean, they certainly didn't commit to it. They kind of did it without having to do it. Was it enough? You saw enough of that, really? Was that sort of satisfying enough, the little tease?
Yeah, and you definitely see Rey struggling with some dark side type feelings and behaviors, and I like all that. I think that just, who wants a perfect Jedi? I like seeing people, like struggle with real emotions, and it just makes them more relatable and human to me, I guess.
So when she shot that lightning out of her hand, did you immediately go, oh crap, maybe she is a Palpatine? Was that in your head going in, or have you kind of forgotten about it?
Oh, so you want to know? So there was a TV spot, and God, I wish I would have just stopped with the TV spots. When I I scroll through my Instagram and I see them, I can't help but stop and watch. But there was one where she's like at the very, like 2 days before the movie, where they show her looking at her hand. And I think that was when I was like, okay, like she's, and then I think the voiceover is, I know who you truly are, or something. Like she's a Palpatine. Like,
goddamn motivators. I mean, granted, they did give you enough warning, but oh yeah, I'm glad I didn't know that. No, I was pretty. In fact, I think I was completely spoiler free. Now that I think about it, I was pretty conscious to not read anything and stay off stuff. Certainly anything that I stopped on the TV spots after about the second one, because I'd been burnt before. And like,
smart.
They always, it's just that sort of little bit of self-control that I kind of like, I'm so close, I just can't blow it, this close to the end. I'm glad I didn't know all that stuff. So, what was the general vibe from your friends coming out? Were they kind of like, oh, I don't know about that? Or it sounds like you were pretty charged. How many times have you seen it?
I've only seen it 3 times.
I've only seen it 3 times too. So.
Oh, really? Which is weird for me. Again, this movie has been different for me than the other 2, but we can get into that later. Our group was, we were all who wouldn't be excited? I don't know. We were just excited to, well, what I didn't realize is we walked out of the theater. Yeah, so we walked out of the theater. We were in the hallway of the movie theater, and we were just like excitedly talking about all the things. And then I realized, there's probably people walking to their screenings that are just walking by us, and we're yammering away as I was like, oh, that sucks. I hope we didn't ruin it for anyone. But yeah, so we were excited enough to just rudely blurt out things to each other.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that.
Mostly I just couldn't stop saying, I can't believe they kissed. They kissed. I cannot believe that happened.
So was that was that what on the Jess, tick list going in of things that you wanted to see? You were pretty chill about it last time.
Because I didn't even think that was on the table. I never thought that would even be something I would even think to want, because I didn't think it would ever happen. And I've always been a Reylo ally. I would call myself
such a diplomatic.
But I feel like in that moment I was a Reylo born. But then I've apparently gone. I was immediately born a Reylo, and then I guess went the opposite way of all the Reylos, because they seem to be collectively angry about Ben Solo's death, whereas I knew he's going, if he gets redeemed, he's going to die.
Yeah.
I just thought that's the obvious equation. If this, then that. So that didn't shock me at all.
No, I was pretty sure he was going to eat it. The way that it kind of worked out, cool. I thought it would be more of a dramatic death. That was fine. I thought the death was fine. At the moment, the kiss, I don't know. I didn't really think about it. I just kind of thought, oh, I come this far through it. Anything's on the table. I wasn't surprised. I was surprised, but I wasn't kind of I didn't sit there going that wasn't an option. I just sort of thought, yeah, they'll probably try all sorts of stuff. But
I'm still surprised. and while I love it, I still wonder, did that make sense? I don't know. This movie is just, it's it's a roller coaster of emotions for me constantly.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah. I love huge chunks of the movie. And there's nothing really that really bothered me, or that I didn't, there's nothing that I'm oh, I hated that. I'm pissed about that. I didn't have anything like that. I think I just wanted to feel more, and and it didn't do that for me. And so I think I'm just kind of bummed that I didn't, I never cried. I wanted to be sobbing, and I never got there. And then I guess the best way I've found to describe it is I love it as a Star Wars movie, but I don't love it as the end of the saga. It didn't feel right to me. I don't know, and I don't know and I don't know why. It's hard.
Yeah, it puts a lot of pressure on itself being the last one of the Skywalker saga, and then and I think they made it even harder for themselves because they had a less time to do it. Like they had a guy kind of lined up to do it all the way through, and then got rid of him, brought back JJ. He had less time to do it than he normally would have, and then it sounds like they were frantically trying to get this thing written, and then frantically trying to get it shot, and then frantically trying to get it edited, and then frantically trying to get it finished, and then frantically getting it out. And then the movie's frantic. Like everything is just kind of like, we've got to get this, we've got to get this, we've got to get this, got to get this. And then, it just doesn't feel... I think when I had Tracy on last week, it doesn't feel like the end. Like it doesn't feel... Like it kind of feels like the end for some people, but not the end for some. Like I think the wording, the Skywalker saga wording thing is quite careful. They're like, all right, we're just going to wrap up these Skywalkers, Luke and Leia and Ben and all those people, and then next adventures. I don't know. What did you think of the Carrie stuff?
I don't know. It didn't really work. I think it's weird because I've never had an issue with Daisy Ridley's acting, but I felt like in those scenes, she didn't really sell it.
I just read something today that in the training sequence, the flashback with Luke and Leia, that Billy Lord plays Leia in those shots, and they put Carrie Fisher's face over the top. Yeah, so it was actually Hamill, youngified. They got the magic marker pen out or whatever they do, and they draw off all these wrinkles, and then and then they had Billy Lord play Princess Leia. So, and then I guess they just stuck Leia's face over the top. So that's quite a nice little touch. But you're right. It was a bit of. It felt like they were talking to a ping pong ball sometimes, like just a stand-in or whoever, and then they're just pasting those Leia lines on the other side. Like, I'm glad it was Carrie Fisher and she's in the movie and that you made the absolute best of a bad situation. But kind of go, it kind of feels like, what could have been if JJ had just committed from the start, Carrie was still alive, all these sort of what ifs and things. Yeah, I don't know. I still enjoy, like I said, the film. I think it's definitely behind Force Awakens and Last Jedi. It's just like, especially when you sort of compare it to Last Jedi, which is just so tightly written from beginning to end and tightly shot and tightly made, and the pacing is really good and everything sort of links up and all the logic's really well thought out. And people have issues with that movie, whatever, one way or the other, things they don't like, but it's very well written and sculpted, and it's very complete. Where this is just a bit like throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks, basically.
Yeah, I think that what I wish would have happened is that they would have either had the same director for all three movies, or had all three scripts written, or at least some, like a through line of the plot. Like, this is beginning, this is where we're going, this is how it's going to end. Because it bums me out when, and I know that now that this movie exists, you can now go back and watch the other two and try and find subtle hints of this and that, but in your heart, like, that this movie was like written after those ones were made, so you can't really believe that it's, like, if you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
but at the same time, like, the thing about that is that, like, J.J. Abrams wrote the first film, right? He writes the last film, so he's doing the setup and the conclusion, and the second film takes place the day after the second film and is over like 3 days after. So it's not like, if you can't get cohesion, it's not like it's... I know Rian Johnson does some things where, like, okay, obviously he takes Luke out, and there's things that happen that set up the film, but it's not like it's this... He's put him in this total unenviable position where he's going to write himself out of a corner or something. Like, it's still basically good guys, bad guys at the start. Like, it seemed like the weight or the weird sort of decisions of the... Like, it feels like the wounds are self-inflicted, basically. You know what I mean? Like, the decisions are really self-inflicted. So, like, the pacing and the sort of, we've got to go to here to get a thing, to get another thing, to get another thing, to get another thing. It's like you've just invented these obstacles to put in front of yourself to, like, you've got this, like, knife that they need to find the wreckage of the Death Star. It's like, well, Rey like 2 or 3 times before that, she basically senses something and goes off in a direction and to find something. Like, why does she need a magic knife? Can't she just get to the Death Star and go, hey, my magic senses are going off again. The thing I need is like over there. And now I already know I'm a Palpatine, so I'm drawn to this thing. Or Palpatine's basically just telling her, like, he wants her to go there and find this stuff. He basically wants her there. So he can basically just be luring her into this trap. We don't need to go to 5 different places to get up to a place. Yeah, so I don't know. It just seemed like they kind of made life difficult for themselves. Crammed in so much stuff, and then a lot of stuff got sort of shortchanged at the end when you're like desperately trying to wrap everything up. Which it sounds harsh because there's still lots I love about the movie as well. But I can certainly see.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess what I was trying to say is, I wish that we could like go back and not even big things. Like we could go mine The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi for like little nuances and be like, oh, that's connected. That's a chat. Wish that we could say all these connections are intentional. Like this was all intentional because this is where they knew they were going. So they planted all these seeds along the way, but you can't, right? Because that's not true.
We know. Yeah, exactly.
And I just wish that it worked. I don't know. And I don't know why it matters. I don't know.
Would you,
to me, but
would you, like, knowing what you know now, would you rather have waited a year for the movie? Another year? If it got to like July this year at Celebration, so it got to Celebration and JJ's coming out and he's like, hey, we're filming this thing, but you know what? Far out, man. We're having a really tough time cracking this thing. And, we think we've got, 70% of a great movie, but it's just not quite there yet. So we're not going to put it out this Christmas. We're going to put it out next Christmas. You're going to have to wait a year, but hey, it's going to be.
Can you imagine the dumpster fire that would ensue?
I know, but like knowing what you know now, like kind of going, hey, I've got a movie that I'm sort of 70% happy with. Some people 20% happy with. Some people 100% happy with. I mean, I guess it doesn't. Yeah. Another year doesn't guarantee you anything, does it? Really?
Right. And at the end of the day, they're never going to make everyone happy. We already knew that. Like that's the whole culture of the sequel trilogy has been arguing and discourse, and
it's the 2010s.
It's kind of a bummer, but
it's the 2010s trilogy, isn't it? It's a reflection of this of the decade we just left. Of discourse and online and entitlement and all these things. It's a product of its environment as much as anything else. But also the things that make it great. The things that also make it great are a product of that too. Like the fact that I'm talking to my Star Wars friend. That I didn't know a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's also a product of those things. So it's not just the bad things. It's a product of all these things. So it sort of lives and dies on those things.
That's true. We should focus on the positive. Did I sound convincing?
No, you definitely sound convincing.
No, we should. Because there's a lot. There's a lot to love about this movie. Ben Solo, for one, amazing. I wish we could have had more of him. I knew he had to die, but I wish we could have more.
So the Bedemption.
So
let's touch on the Bedemption.
Oh gosh,
he's a pretty cool guy. He's gone from a whiny little sort of emo. He was actually pretty. I mean, I know we didn't get a lot of it, but he seemed to be a pretty cool dude. He seemed to be more sort of Han Solo. The Han Solo came out, didn't it? Really?
It did.
A bit of swagger.
God, he's just. I can't. That 5 minutes of the movie will probably go down if I ever sit down and figure out my, top 5, top 10 moments in the entire saga. That'll definitely rank. It was awesome. The lightsaber transfer, love that.
I mean, he's such a good actor. It's crazy how good he is. That he's basically the same guy. He hasn't got his little tunic on. He's got his little Ben Solo T-shirt going, but you can immediately tell it's a different. I mean, it's not fair to rag on Hayden Christensen, but he kind of had to go from Anakin was kind of like this, and in order to sell, he was basically like, to be evil, and it's just. The little flick of the turn of the switch, he just does enough where it's like it's still the same guy, it's still this, but you can see that he's a redeemed person.
It's almost like there was a curse on him and the curse was broken, and he's like
lifted,
snap, like, yep,
yeah. Oh, look, I think the acting all throughout was really good. I thought that was the best Daisy
It
Ridley had
was.
been. She had lots to work with. I think Daisy Ridley is always good, but she was sort of the best in
She's
this. And
amazing. I love her.
John
Yeah.
Boyega was good as always, and
So many cute, like subtle moments with Poe and Finn. Like I love the general that part. Just like low key, tiny little things like that I love. And and I've never seen so few wayfinders. Just like little lines and nuggets that are kind of like tucked in there that I love.
Well, that's the funny thing is that the dialogue really snaps for the most part, and really, there's some really good dialogue. You kind of go, it could have, maybe they spent too long just working on snappy dialogue and not sort of like, I don't know. It feels like they've shot like 4 hours. They've shot like a 4-hour film, and they've just absolutely cut the guts out of it in a lot of places to sort of get the story going. I mean, I would have happily sat through a 3-hour version. I know people are kind of going, "Oh, release the JJ cut," but this is the JJ. This is his movie. JJ.
Yeah.
You don't re-edit JJ Abrams' movies, and imagine that would never happen. I think it's just they've just had so much stuff that they had to cut this movie down, and they probably felt like that they couldn't get rid of stuff. And as I touched on last week, I think Rose obviously is the one who kind of got shortchanged quite badly, which is a shame. I was on Twitter sort of talking about what I would have done with Rose at the end, and because there's that weird bit where she's like, "I can't come on this adventure with you. Leia wants me to research Star Destroyers or something," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, we'll get you the next one." But I mean, I would have had her, because they have that little bit at the end where they're planning the attack. It's like, why don't you just cut to Rose, and she's like, "Right, now I know everything about Star Destroyers. We've got to hit them here. 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 You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get on.
Yeah, that would have been.
I'm going to get on Leia's ship. The one from A New Hope that's sitting right there, and I'm going to coordinate this battle." And you could have cut to Rose in the battle in the Tantive 4, basically going, "This is Gold Leader. I'm coordinating. Poe, you're on the ground flying around. I'll coordinate from up here," and then you can basically include her. And you don't have to, because they kept saying, "Oh, we had to have her bounce off the Carrie footage. We needed a principal there." It's like, well, this point of the movie, Carrie's Leia's not in the story anymore. You could have just stuck her on a green screen in a cockpit and had her, read some lines and included her a bit at the end. But anyway, what do I know?
Yeah. You asked me how I would have felt if JJ was like, "Well, we need more time." What I would have been excited about is if they said, we sat down to do this movie, and God, this would have screwed everything up though, because then you couldn't say trilogy. If they had done the 2 movies, like part 1, part 2, I would have been on board with that.
So he'd
taking
be like,
their time and kind of like
done like the
fleshed things out more.
So he would have done the thing where he's like, at the panel going, "Oh, it's taking a really bad time. We need time for this movie. So, there's going to be a delay. You're not going to see the conclusion of the Star Wars saga until, 2022. And everyone's like, "No." Okay. And then he goes, "But you're going to see part 1, Christmas, and then you'll see part 2 in, 2 years' time." And everyone's like, "Wow, there's an episode 10 or there's an episode 9 part 2, like he could have done the old celebration bait and switch.
That would have, but then like the type A personality in me would have had a really hard time with sequel, quadruple, or what?
Okay,
I mean, sorry, trilogy, whatever a 4-movie.
That's Harry Potter. They split that last Harry Potter movie in 2 bits. Everybody got over that.
Yeah, but it's just such a. I don't envy them what they were up against and had to try and accomplish. And for the most part, I think they did a great job. You know what I think would have, for me, might have given me the feels I wanted to feel at the end. I wish I don't know. I just wanted. I guess I didn't realize how invested I was in an Anakin Force Ghost.
They were so close, weren't they?
That would have. Oh God!
I was
so
so sure. I was so sure
when
they had that shot of her from sort of the front on. It's a wide shot, and there's all that empty space behind her. I'm like, oh, these ghosts are all gonna like just step into the frame or something, and just no.
Yeah. But yes, or I would have. I'm of the camp that I would have liked to see Ben Solo Force Ghost at the end with Luke and Leia. That might have done it for me. I don't know.
Would that be a little bit awkward though? She's just like, "Oh, just kissed you." It's like, kissing somebody on the weekend and then seeing him at school the next
No,
day.
because
Like,
I think it would have been cool, like for her to see him with Leia and to know that she played a part in like reuniting him with his mother, and now they're together, and I don't know.
maybe
I don't know.
Maybe
Whatever.
Ben Solo's in hell.
It's fine.
You know, maybe.
How dare you? How dare you?
Ben Solo's in hell with Jess Schroeder. Maybe that's the episode title.
No.
He's like, I got 5
No,
minutes. I'm so going to do it now. He was like, I got 5 minutes of being good, but I really had to burn for my actions. Well, you know, I got to kiss a girl finally. You know, tick that off.
Yeah. Yep.
I know. I think he was probably a bit of a player, even when he was bad. Ben Solo.
No.
No,
I don't think so. That was his first. That was definitely his first kiss.
Ray, I could see, because like she's in a scavenger. She's a scavenger girl in the middle of nowhere. There's no action. There's nothing going on. But yeah, I think Ben got more play. Oh, second. Oh, and I was just saying that I think Ben Solo got lots of play. You know, he was supreme leader. He could have had anybody he wanted in the galaxy.
Okay. Well, that can be your headcanon.
Do you think he was just, you know,
it's not going to be mine.
He was pining for Rey the whole time, or was it more just like, oh, no, I'm going to die. I better just kiss the closest girl before I die?
No, of course he was. He was definitely pining for Rey the whole time. Look at her; she's perfect.
And he was like, it's the only girl I know in the galaxy. I'll just, you know, pull her pigtails for 2 movies and, you know, call her names, and then eventually she'll like me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I don't know. That's a lot to unpack right there.
There's a lot to unpack. All right. Well, we won't get too deep on the Ben Solo unpacking here, but let's talk about some other stuff in the movie here while we're here. Actually, you know what? No, we'll do that. We'll keep going a little bit on the movie.
What?
No, I was thinking about pivoting to Mandalorian, but I want to get your thoughts on one or two other things, because it's, you know, so much stuff. So the big question: what now? Where do we go from here?
I don't know. That's what I was hoping to ask you.
I have as much information as you. Don't let this fancy podcast.
I know.
You.
I don't know.
Do you want to keep going forward, or do you want to go back for a bit, story-wise?
That's a good question. I think back. I like to go back. There's so much in the EU and so much that they talk about in the prequels about the history, and I think there's a lot to mine there that could be really cool.
Yep. Yeah. They have to tread very carefully, because, you know, like last time, you know, back in the old days, they sort of, you know, Jedi came out and that was it. And they brought out this whole EU and all these stories and took the story forward and then basically decided to wipe it all to start new stories. I think they'll have to be very careful about bringing stuff out now post Rise of Skywalker, because I don't think they're going to... They don't want to be in a position where they have to wipe stuff again, basically, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get, like, this is just going to be it for the foreseeable future until they're ready to actually commit to an episode 10 or whatever they're going to do, whether that's the further adventures of Rey Skywalker or, you know, Finn and Poe setting up a, you know, animal sanctuary somewhere, or whatever adventures they end up doing. I don't know why I thought that, but yeah, I just think that they're going to be very, very gun shy about putting anything else out just because they want to have absolutely every option available to them.
Yeah, and I think they've already said this, but it'll probably be a while before we get another movie, just because the standalone, well, Rogue One was a huge success, but I don't know, they're probably a little nervous about where to go from here themselves, and it's going to be hard, like, getting people excited for something that doesn't have anything to do with these characters that we have grown to love.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, whatever they do has to have some sort of, I was thinking about this, like, what if there was a Star Wars movie that had zero connections or Easter eggs or anything to do with anything we've ever seen? Like, how weird would that be? Like, on planets we've never heard of, they don't allude to any person or anything that we've ever, like, that wouldn't even feel like a Star Wars movie, right? So they have to kind of have some connections and touchstones to the movie. Yeah. even though they won't have like the same main characters, but you have to assume we're going to have like planets that we've been to, or obviously Jedi lore and the politics that we're familiar with.
Just to get people in the door, you know, like obviously the hardcore sort of Star Wars fans like us will go if they say, hey, there's a new Star Wars movie, you know. It's going to take the general public a lot of kind of like, didn't we just finish Star Wars? I thought Star Wars was done. Like, what is this? Like, what are we doing now? Like, there's no Luke anymore. There's no Han. And is it Rey? Is it the continuing story of Rey? And like, oh no, we're not doing Rey. We're going back again. We're like, well, we're going back. What, like those weird ones with Jar Jar Binks? Are we doing those again? It's like, no, we're doing. I know there was. I think it might have even been Making Star Wars put something out saying that they were talking about the High Republic 400 years before. You know, so you kind of got Jedi, the prime of the Jedi again. So you got, even that's a tough sell to the general public as well. Like, you've got to sort of convince them to get on board. So it's going to be this is the trickiest time for them. I think they don't have. You're right. They don't have that safety net of going like, hey, we've got Luke. Hey, there's the Falcon. Hey, there's Chewie. Maybe they do. You know, maybe they're going, hey, we want to keep that, because if we go back and people don't care, we can always go, hey, Daisy Ridley, you know, would you like $30 million to come back and play Rey a few more times in the Rey adventures now? I'll go.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go, but I don't know. I don't really see I mean, I guess money talks, but I feel like, and obviously I'm not Daisy Ridley's close personal friend, but I get the vibe that they
silly reason you're on this podcast. I'm like, if she'll get her on enough time, she'll bring Daisy Ridley on. Oh, God. Right. Well, bark up the wrong tree here.
Sorry to disappoint you.
God damn it.
I don't know. I get the vibe that they, at least definitely from Oscar Isaac and John Boyega, that they're ready to hang their hats for a bit, hang their blasters.
I think when you've just finished it and you're on the promo trail and, you know, it's the end of a long thing, you think like, hey, the last thing I want to do is climb that mountain again. Now I've gotten through. But, you know, hey, man, Harrison Ford came back, so...
That's true.
And I like those guys, but they ain't Harrison Ford.
That part I did not see coming.
Yeah, I quite like awesome. That was lovely. I mean, Harrison Ford was good in that, but that Adam Driver, going back on Adam Driver and that acting in that bit, the second he breaks and you can see the change, you're like, God damn, he is too good an actor for these movies, for these silly space movies. Yeah, his whole his eyes go from being like dead to being light and full of life and love. Yeah. It's a shame he's in hell now, but anyway.
Oh, stop. You're horrible. You're gonna have the rails coming after you in droves. You better be careful. We want to get some more downloads. Your name's on it too. I love the Raylos. I'm glad that they got what they wanted, and yet it was so. But did they? Because it seems like they didn't get what they wanted. But it's so perfectly Raylo that they just weren't satisfied even when they got still found something. But it's also so Star Wars Twitter that like some people who absolutely wanted this thing to happen, and this isn't just the Raylos. This is everybody. You know, they got the thing and it happened. And then it was just taken away from them. You know, it was like they got a victory, but they like my uncle was a cyclist, like a track cyclist, and he rode track, you know, races and stuff, and he qualified. I'm pretty sure it was the Olympic Games, or the Olympic Games or the Commonwealth Games. Basically, he got a qualifying time for the Olympic Games, but as he went over the line, his bike was on an angle like this. So it's a 45-degree angle. So he basically crashed his bike over the line, hit the wall, and broke his leg, and couldn't go to the Olympics. So he qualified for the Olympics. Oh no! But he broke his leg doing the qualification, and then couldn't compete. Oh wow! So that's is basically that is the Raylos right there, where they basically crossed the line, they qualified, and then crashed out at the end of the thing. So it's all about how you dust yourself up and pick yourself up and. Get back on the bike, I guess, or I don't know what. He's dead now in hell. But anyway, I was so stop it. I was so excited for the Raylos. I was like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. I can't wait to get on Twitter and see how happy they are and how excited and pumped and like in your face. We got what we wanted. They are, and then I was like, wait a minute. Oh no, they're pissed. Like they are pissed. They're not happy. Like I didn't.
I actually didn't
Uh,
see because it was Christmas time as well, and because I was off Twitter for a few days, I gotten used to not, because I don't know about you, but you get addicted to it, and so you find yourself just checking it without even realizing you're checking it a lot of the time. And I'd finished work and I was off Twitter. I didn't have it on my work computer. I didn't have it I was off it, not on my phone. So I kind of forgot about Twitter for the first couple of days because we got into Christmas mode and everything. So. And then I was just on my personal timeline. I saw a little bit of some people kind of being a bit bummed or some people loving it. But all the sort of fire and brimstone and massive discourse completely passed me by. I had no idea until some people started commenting on it and stuff. So I was a bit like, okay. That's a shame, but, it'll die down soon.
yeah. I mean, good on them for just like really shooting for the moon. Like they wanted to have it all.
Yeah.
And
they kind of got it.
I thought the kiss was going to be, I thought that was pretty amazing that we even got that. But I mean, they really thought Ben Solo was going to come back to the Rebel base and be welcomed with open arms. I
It's
guess.
really awkward. He's just standing there with like a plate of food or something, like a salad or something. He's like, "Hi, I'm just
I brought
here.
cookies.
I brought cookies. Hi, hi everybody. Ben Solo. You might know me as Kylo Ren. Don't worry, I'm all good now. Trust me."
It was the curse. The curse has been broken.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go kiss my girlfriend for a bit. I'll be over here. So let's very quickly. We're running out of time here, but we'll very quickly touch on Mandalorian. I assume you're all caught up. All caught up.
I am.
It was funny here because the times that they screen here, we get them in the evenings here in Australia. So it's been sort of Friday evening at sort of 7 p.m. perfect TV watching time. We would get the new episodes. So I know people like Hawes, Burkhart, friend of the show, would be getting up at 2 a.m. to watch it and stuff, because he couldn't wait. Where I would just sit down at television once the kids are in bed and there's a brand new Mandalorian. And then they did that sort of sneaky episode that they brought forward to not clash with Rise of Skywalker, I think the 7th episode, which ended up being on the night that we had the midnight screening. So I actually watched the 7th episode of The Mandalorian and then just went off to the movies to watch the new Star Wars movie. So,
wow.
So that worked out quite well for us. But general wrap up, how you happy? Ready for more?
Yeah, of course. I don't want to wait so long. Yeah, I was very happy. I mean, Darksaber, didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, I got a few.
And what a fun way to, like, what a nice payoff for the people who, put the time in and really watch those animated shows for kids.
Yeah, it's true actually. It's crazy. I watched it and kind of went, oh wow, that's interesting. They're doing that. Like I was sort of. It took me a second to sort of click because I've only ever done one watch through of Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff. Like I kind of recognized it, but I had to sort of watch the YouTube clip of like, why is this important again? I went, oh yeah, that's right. Like I knew it was the Mandalorian thing, and I was trying to sort of tie it back in. But yeah, I mean that last episode, Taika Waititi absolutely smashed it. I mean the last couple, there was a little bit of a sag in the middle, but I think it was only by the own high standards that we basically came out of the blocks absolutely firing.
Yeah,
and then it absolutely kicked it home in a big bad way. Were you big team Baby Yoda? Were you on the?
Of course. I mean, isn't the entire world team Baby Yoda?
I know, but I guess how old are your boys? They're school age, aren't they, or nearly?
5 and 7.
Yeah, 5 and 7. They're a bit bigger. So my partner Kat, because we've got a 1-year-old, she's got this weird thing with Baby Yoda where she sees Sloane, like our 1-year-old.
Absolutely,
like
I get that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as a mother, do you still sort of look at the Baby Yoda and go, oh, I remember my baby's sort of that?
It's weird.
Is it just a maternal thing that kicks in, or
kind of? But I mean, definitely I've seen other mothers of like, I think Steele said his wife felt the same way. But I remember when my kids were infants and everything, every small, like every baby animal or like little animated baby or anything that seemed even babyish would make me think of my babies, like my baby at the time.
Yeah.
So I definitely get that. I think my maternal instincts were strongest in the prisoner episode, because as soon as I realized those people were getting on the Razor Crest and they were probably going to encounter Baby Yoda, I was in high anxiety.
Oh, right.
I haven't been that anxious watching a show in a long time.
Wow,
like I was so nervous. Like I don't want them by the baby. Like no, I don't like this.
Even more so, like when those scout troopers snatched him up, you're a bit like,
Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Here's the crazy thing. I've only watched the last episode one time so far.
Oh right.
It's been because it came out right around the holidays.
Yeah,
so I haven't been able to go back and rewatch it yet.
I've watched it twice, but only because I managed to carve out half an hour of my life where there was no family around, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to put this on and watch it again. But no, I think every episode I've only watched twice. Maybe the first one I've watched more because we did the review and then we did the screening here. But yeah, look, I'm ready for. When we're at Celebration next year and they do the Mandalorian Season 2 panel. And
oh my God, it's going to be so fun. And then we'll probably get a clip.
Yeah, we'll get something. Well, it's weird now because it's so funny that we sort of... we watched that panel and then they had so much that they weren't telling us. Like, I kind of felt like at the time going, oh, wow, they're really showing quite a lot here. They're really sort of giving us a general gist of what's going on. And like... no idea that something like Baby Yoda existed. Like, no idea.
That is, now that you think back on it, it's very impressive that never leaked, that never got out, right? It never did, right? Am I right?
You're right.
Yeah. That's wild, yeah.
Now, they did sort of suggest that there'll be more sort of familiar characters in the second season. Is there anybody that you'd like to see pop up? Who's number one on your wish list? Let's just throw it out to any Star Wars character that would realistically kind of be around that
time. Let's see. Well, we're probably going to get Boba Fett. We already know that, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go with Lando, just for my space brother Dallas. What if we got a Lando?
He'll be very happy. Right now, his ears are...
How would they... They'd have to either de-age Billy D, though, or make Donald Glover look older. So that might be a challenge. I don't know.
They got money.
Oh, you know who would be... Let me think. I'd like to see some more of the... I want to see some of the animated characters. Like, if we could get... I haven't finished Rebels yet, but I assume Sabine Wren is still around. If we could get Sabine somehow, that would be... That would blow my mind.
That's quite a good call, actually.
I'm assuming Sabine Wren doesn't die. I'm right in that, right? You can spoil that for me.
I'm just trying to remember.
I only have
no, she...
I have 5 episodes left.
I'm 99.9% sure she makes it out fine.
Okay. So she wouldn't be
much older.
I mean, she'd be
only 5 years after Jedi, and Rebels is just before A New Hope. So she'd only be 6 or 7 years older. She'd be 6 or 7 years older. How old is she in Rebels?
Wait, Rebels takes place before A New Hope, right?
Yeah, not long before though. Like about a year before.
Okay.
So Jedi takes place about 3 years after A New Hope, so that makes her 3 years old, and then I think this is 5 years, so she'd be 8 years older. So, so she's probably pushing 30 by then. She's sort of early 20s, isn't she?
Let's get Sabine. Okay, that's my one. That's my wish. If I can have one, it'll be Sabine Wren.
Nice.
Give me her.
All right.
That would be awesome. Mind blown.
Excellent. Well,
I would probably be screaming in my house if that happens.
Well, you got to come back on the podcast and to laud in know how you were right.
What about you? What's yours?
Luke Skywalker.
Okay,
he's going to track down baby. He's going to track down.
Oh, you're shooting. Hey, you're
shooting
going
big.
Full Raylo, just shooting for the moon.
Yeah, I hope Luke Skywalker and Baby Yoda kiss, and then Baby Yoda disappears afterwards. But, I think that they're saying that they want to find the Jedi. I have to double check the dialogue. Some people are saying, because she says, "Oh, you got to find these people and stuff," but I think they're saying Jedis, not more Yodas. But I have to double check that. Or maybe it's open to interpretation. Yeah. And, the only Jedi around is Luke Skywalker. So I think it'd be quite cool. You could, get some de-aging Hamill going on now that they've already got they've already done it for the other movie. So
that's true.
Bust out the
I'm sure he'd
software.
be keen to sign on. So
yeah, if he gets to, do Luke, be more like the Luke that he remembers as well, I think he'd probably be up for that.
Mm-hmm.
But All right.
Yeah.
What we might do, we're going to put a little pin in it here. Thanks again for coming on, Jess. We always like having you come on and get those sweet, sweet Minnesota download numbers that come along with it. You'll be a pretty frequent guest this year if you're happy to keep coming back on. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about because there's no.
I know, right?
Where's the Star Wars after this? And so maybe when we get something solid we can talk about and stuff, we'll get you back on. And maybe we'll do a follow up. When Rise of Skywalker is on home video, and we've all watched it 100 times, where we sit with it after that.
Yeah.
Now,
right.
Where can everybody find you on the internet?
It's at Darth_Schroeder, spelt Schroeder, on Twitter.
Hashtag Ben Solo is in hell.
Hashtag don't ever say that again. So yes, it rhymes with Vader.
Yeah, I get it.
I just want to put that out there.
I get
Do you?
it.
Good.
Yes. Yeah, I know I pronounced your name wrong at the start of this thing, but I did learn my lesson and made sure that it's been correct. I haven't got it wrong since then, have I? Well, anyway.
No, you haven't. I wonder how many people were like, why Darth Schroeder? That's strange. Because it rhymes with Vader if you pronounce it the way.
Yes.
We do, just to confuse everyone, Darth Schroeder.
Darth Schroeder, everybody. Get it right.
Yep.
Or don't bother following her.
Or don't. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It's just the internet. It doesn't matter. Awesome. You can find all our stuff at StarWarsSpelledOut.com, T-shirts and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully there might be a new T-shirt coming soon. I'm just trying to work on that. Just depends what my time's going to be like now that I'm off work for a little bit. And thanks so much, Jess.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Go Vikings.
Go Vikings. Woo! See you later.
Bye.